Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Crimi-Trent, and today we're working on a fun little cute Christmas elf. Yep, I show you how to draw this elf step by step, but if you don't have any patience and don't want to do that, you can join my Patreon and become a Patreon member, and you get the traceable that goes with it. I have exclusive tutorials there weekly for Patreon members with traceable downloads, so if you want to check it out, just hit the link in the description box and on my about page. Also, don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorials are up, because sometimes they're sporadic. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. So let's get started. Okay, as always, I'll go over my supplies. I have a piece of Arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper, 6 by 9 inch. You don't need to have Arches for this particular exercise. You could use a cheaper paper. I'm just going to have it because I have it on hand. I actually don't have any cheaper paper, so I'll probably be using my Princeton 8 and number 4 long round velvet touch series brush, and I have lots of my paints here. I'll go over them as I use them, and I always have everything in the description box. So you just hit that word that says show more, and it drops down with all the description, all links to everything that I use. So if you're a Patreon member, you have the traceable for the elf, and here he is. I can try and show you how to draw it. So let's get that. You want to look into, I always teach people shapes. Shapes is how you want to draw these, anything really. Just break it down into shapes, you know. So for the elf's face, it's going to be a big oval, right? And then for the hat, you're going to cut over the oval, just a curved line. And you put straight lines next to that, and you cut over here. And then for the hair, a curved line here, swing it up here, curved line here, swing it up here, and do the little curly Q. And then for the ears, you're just connecting over here, little pointy ears. Then you have his face, right? And then the eyes are very simple, just upside down, or curved line U's, and then the U, and a bigger U, and there's the mouth. Get a little easier. So for the scarf, you're just going to put a line, curve it, and then another one for that. So here's what we did before. There's that curved line. See, after we have the oval shape penciled in, we can go in and draw our elf face. And there's his little face. The body is even simpler. Basically doing well, let's do the scarf down. So the scarf, you just go like this. See this curved, and then another one curved out here, and just a little phrase on the ends. For the shirt, just a rectangle, simple shape. And the arm, just a curved line up, and then just follow that, right? And for the mitten, bump, bump. And then you just do the stripes. And you don't have to do stripes, you could do polka dots. And then for his other arm was like curving the opposite way. Pretty simple. And then the legs, now you just go like that, half oval, straight legs down, straight legs down. And then for the boots, it's a curve, then another curve, straight leg down, straight line down, and then line, line, curve for the skate. Same thing again, curve, then take the curve from here and go up and straight line down, and then just do these two little lines and a curve like that for the skate. And then you're just curving in the stripes for the shirt. And for the hat, you're just going to go and bring it down, and then take this part under the ear, connect it, and you get your pom-pom. And for the bird, it's pretty simple. I always tell people, again, look into shapes. So it's like a U, right? Connect it. Then you do the little rectangle sideways for the scarf, and then a little half moon for the face, and a beak, the nose, and then you get the little feet. So that's pretty simple. You can slow this down so you can do it. Or if you're a Patreon member, you can just get the traceable and use that. And that link is in the description box and on my about page. All my social media links are always in my description and every single tutorial that I have. So if you're looking for any of that, it's all there. So really this is straightforward. Once we draw it all out, we're going to just fill it in whatever you want to fill it in with, whatever colors that you like, however you want to paint it. Green, red, green hat, red hat, blue hat, whatever works for you. So it's kind of like a Santa hat, but it doesn't have to be a Santa hat. It could be a green hat with a red pom-pom, you know, or vice versa. I think I'm going to make you can make his sweater blue and white, green and white, whatever. And the pants. I'm going to work on red, so I'm just going to make a red color. I don't actually have a red, so I just mix my magenta, quinachradone magenta, with some cadmium yellow deep. And I get some nice red color. And I'm using my Princeton 8 long round. And I'm just going to fill in his little pants real quickly. Like I said, you don't have to keep it in the Christmas colors. You can put it in fun colors, you know, blues, purples. Change it up. It'd be a lot of fun. So, and you don't have to use a particular paper. I just chose to use it because I have it accessible to me. And it was kind of pieces of scrap because I've been using it for lots of cards. So we're just going to fill this in. If you do choose to use this paper, you can use it to your advantage if you want to have the elf. It could just be a simple flat illustration, but if you want it to have a little more sophistication, you can start doing some wet on wet and bleeding in some darker tones. So I'm just filling this red hat in, as you see, and it's still very wet. Just going to fill this all in, and while it's wet, I will grab some darker red tones and I can bleed those in. So I have a alizarin crimson over here, which is fairly darker red. I can add a little Prussian blue. Right now it seems a little more purple. Grab some of that magenta. Grab a little bit of that yellow. We're just building up this really dark burgundy kind of color. A little more yellow. So it's a deeper red. I added a teeny bit of black. I'm grabbing a little bit of blue and the yellow. A little more brown red, so I'm getting some more magenta in there. Alright, so we get a nice darker red. And I'll clean up my brush and I'll grab some of this paint. Make a creamy texture, not too much water. And then we can just tap that darker tap right on the edges of the, excuse me, it's not cooperating. There. So just on the edges of your hat. Just with the tip of your brush, not too much paint. Maybe behind the ear a little bit. This is just if you want to take it up a little bit notch. You do not have to add them the darker color. It's still fairly wet, so it should bleed pretty easy. And this Arches paper is the best to bleed in. Okay, so we'll just keep that simple. For his little scarf, I have this olive green. Gonna get it fairly light. I'm just gonna put the whole color on his scarf. And we're gonna do a fun little detail in a bit when it dries. Make it seem like a knitted scarf. I'm just going to flush in this light olive green color across the whole thing. Meanwhile, You can make your elf any skin color you want. You can make black, brown, yellow, whatever, blue, any color you want. I think I'm just going to do a simple flesh color, and I mixed magenta with some yellow. I think a touch of Van Dyke brown. Let me just get this simple. I'm going to make it really watery so it's lighter. Maybe add a little more yellow. Oops. See, it's a little balancing act to get that color. I want it lighter, so I'm going to keep adding some more white water to it. It doesn't matter if I hit the hair because it's going to be much darker, so I can go right over that if I wanted to. I can still see the pencil lines, and that's perfect. So I'm just going to fill this in. You could have made the elf brown. You could have blue or even green. It doesn't really matter. He's an elf. He's not a real person. Whatever works for you. So I just went over all the areas where his hair is. It doesn't really matter. You got a little bleedy over here. Kind of don't want to do that. So I'm lifting up the paint with my brush. So he's flushed in. We could work on his sweater. I think I could make it blue and white or a dark green and white. I'm not sure. If you want to keep in the Christmas colors, I might do blue and white. I've changed my mind a million times. Or I can just make it a color and then, you know, it doesn't have to be a stripe with a white and blue. It can be blue with blue. So I might do that. Let's do a blue. So I have my peacock blue here. Grab a little Prussian mix with that. And a little magenta to make it more like an ultramarine. Do I want to do that? How you check and see if you like the color that you're going to print next to it? Take a little scrap and say, that's not a fun color. That's like a serious blue. So I'll remove that blue. I think the peacock itself is much prettier. Look how bright that is. And then I take the same color and go, yeah, that's more fun, right? Is it an elf? Supposed to be fun. So I'm going to fill, instead of doing blue and green and white, blue and white, I'm going to fill it all in. This fun, bright peacock blue. Holbein has fantastic pigments. They're so intense. That's why I love them. That's why I recommend them. I have the links to them if you want to get them from Amazon. I buy them on other sites. I try to reach out to get affiliate links from some of these sites, but nobody's contacted me back, so whatever. You're going to have to search, I'm sorry guys, yourself, instead of me doing all the work for you. On some places like Jerry's Autorama or Dick Blick. They have good sales though. I like the blue. It's fun. And I think the bird would be better suited to be a little deeper, more serious blue. So I'll grab some of that Prussian mix with the peacock. And he'll be a little serious blue. I could do him, make him a red bird, but I'm not going to. I'm going to make him a blue bird. I'm still using this brush. It's a little tricky with the tiny bird, but it's okay. I could have switched to the number 4 for that guy, but I chose not to. So even for me, it was a little tricky, you know, getting the paint right in there. The rim of this hat can remain white, and if you want to keep it white and the pom-pom white, I would suggest taking this peacock blue or whatever blue you have, really make it really light, and put this little really light blue. See, I'm putting a little on the side here, and then on the just on the rim of the hat. See, just a little bit. You know it's white, but you want to like give it a little bit of shadow. just like that. I'm going to go and grab my number 4. So the mittens can be any color. Again, it can be blue, green, red. I might make them a dark green. So I'll use my Prussian blue with my olive green and make a darker green. And I'll just fill those in. You could have made them black. I chose to keep it a color. Now we're going to test and see if our scarf is dry. If it's dry, we're going to do a little trick. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So we're going to make it like a knitted scarf. Okay? So I'm going to put a little line here. And let's do the dark green, by the way. Line here, because that's where the other one is. Going to get the outline of the scarf. And then we're going to do this thing with making V's. So how I explain this is that taking that dark line, again, going down the middle, and then you're going to make these little V's. Going down the middle, and there's little V's. Does that make any sense? And you can tweak it by rounding it a little bit. See, going around it like this. So they're little V's, but then you're kind of rounding it out on the edges with your tip of your brush. So it looks like a knit. So I'll show you again. You cut that in half, but then you're cutting it in half again. And then you're making a V and a V. But then you're going to go and take the brush and kind of curve around those V's. Again, V, V. And it looks like a little knitted. So again, the line here, line in the middle, and you're doing these V's. But then you're going to go and go around it. So it's kind of like a heart, but not really. V. And then go around it. So you see how I make that V first, just for the guide, and then curve around it. And you got this cute little knitted scarf. Detail. V's. Keep showing you. V's. I mean, if you can't do the round part, that's fine. So you get the V's again. I'm going to zoom in a little more. Oh, that's zoom in a second. And then I'm painting the edge in the middle again. So it's kind of bulked out a little bit with that darker green color. And then you can put the little dark green phrase. See that? You can go in and tweak it a little bit. I would put a teeny bit of even darker green, like a little dot in between the V's. See that? It's just going to help it look more like a knitted. Just really dark. Right in between all the little V's. So it's a super detail. It might take a little time. You don't even have to do this. You can just do a striped scarf, polka dot scarf. But I thought I'd show you guys how to make a cute little knitted scarfy poo. I'll zoom back out. Sometimes it's just those little details that make it extra special, because the rest is going to be kind of pretty mundane, you know. Gonna fill in the scarf for the birdie. I'll probably make it the same. I won't make that detail. That's insanity for this tiny bird here. But I'll make it the green, and I'll add probably a darker green stripe. You know, and then I'll go and grab some yellow and make his little beak. This guy is very simple to paint. Got a little too much water there. And then, you know, for the pom-pom, the blue pom-pom, the pom-pom here, it's going to be white. Just put some blue, little teeny marks like this. You can even take a little bit of gray and go out like this. Little fuzzy marks. His little boots are going to be black. So I have a black Payne's gray over here. Simple, simple. But before that, it might be smarter to paint the rink, the blue rink. So we could use the peacock blue, water it down, get rid of this green. It can be a little aqua, add a little green to it. And we can just go right over, because I'm going to paint that black, and do the ice skating rink. I should have thought of that before I started painting that one. I'll have to go around it. So here I made a mistake for you guys, but that's okay. I paint real-time tutorials. That's how I like to roll. I find editing is nice and fine, but I like to teach people like I was in a classroom with you. And those are coming. I'm going to be doing some actual live Facebook classes, and I'm going to be doing some online classes itself that are much longer than these short little YouTube or Patreon videos, like a real class. So you put the little ice skating rink in there, gonna let that dry before you put the rest of the stuff. So meanwhile, you can make the sweater, you know, get in there and do the darker blue, the stripes for the sweater. Just fill it all in. I'm doing mine pretty fast, pretty loose. I'm just doing the darker blue. Like I said, make it any color you want. Doesn't have to be a stripe. It could be polka dots. You can make it look like a knitted sweater also. I have quite a few tutorials on doing that where you just do the little V's. I'm going to have to put his little cheeks in, so you just take some of your magenta or whatever pink you have, get it fairly wet because you want it really loose. Getting just a little bit here to make a little elf cheeks. Oops, doesn't want to cooperate. Just little rosy cheeks. I don't have that in the sketch, but you know, it's no big deal. Cute little rosy cheeks, and then the hair color could be black, brown. I'll probably do brown. I have this Van Dyke brown here. I might add a little magenta to it, a reddish brown. It's a little too red, so I'm gonna add some yellow. Get this brown color and put in his little hair. You could make him a blonde one, like what was it? Is it Cornelius? No, I forget the elf's name in Rudolph. He's the dentist. I'm sure somebody's going to put it down here in the comments. But he was blonde, so you can make him brown and blonde, adding a little darker color in here. Make the elf hair any color you want. I think Cornelius was the guy with the abominable. Yes, and then we're going to do his little birdie scarf. See if it's still wet. Add in a nice deep dark green. Stripe. I'm using the 4 because it's a nice tiny brush. Perfect for this. And little black legs. Little dot for his eye. Very simple. And then for the, this is pretty dry. So you just make and it doesn't have to be black. I did the eyes. You can do like a nice pinkish reddish color for the nose and the mouth. Like that. And it's still wet there, I think. So I don't want to get too crazy while we're doing that. We can go in and take like our Payne's gray or black and just make these little fuzzy, see these little lines coming off the pom-pom, and highlight the hat brim, the same thing. And then I think pretty much I can finish this boot because it was dry next to the skate. I think we can do it now. So we add some black. And then a little skate. Woo, connection. You could actually make that silver if you wanted to, but I'm just going to keep it black. And another little trick. We're going to, let me just fix this little hat. It's a little messed up over here by its ear. I'm going to do like a little squirrel. I'm going to take my bigger brush. So I have that color. You want it just a shade darker of the color you have here. I'm just going to, and then the skate. See, just like that. And you can do little highlights here. Actually, I want to put a little same color up in the hat. I feel like it needs something. And then the skin too, you can kind of like highlight that. You can make it a little darker. Grab. It's got a little muddy. Playing around with getting this color right. It's not that easy to get that blushy color just right. I'll show you, I'm making a little highlight on the face. Just like that. Just a slightly darker than what you had there. And then you can do the same thing with all the other colors too. So get a deeper red. Making this darker red here. Just putting like a couple of little brush strokes like underneath here and the leg. It just pops it out a little more. But that's pretty much it, Mr. Elf. And you can do the same thing with the blue. We can just, the birdie, a little more under the bird. A little highlight. That got a little green for some reason. Because the brush was a little too much water on it. Don't do what I did. But I'm adding just a little darker tone to the bird. You could add slightly darker tones from the stripe going inward on each little edge. It's getting a little more detailed, guys. You don't have to do this. It's just tweaking it. But that's pretty much it. And if you wanted to add a white stripe on the hat, little snowflakes, you might do like a little, actually I might do some polka dots. I have some white gouache I'll just clean up my brush. If the gouache wants to cooperate today. It's kind of dry. Gouache is just like watercolor. You can activate it with water. So if it dries up on you, acrylic gouache will not do that. It's like acrylic paint. So I have some gouache right here. And I might want to add small little polka dots to his hat, which is not in the sketch. See? That's how I trick you guys all the time. I never know what I'm going to add. That's the fun when you come to my channel, as I fake you out. A little white here to take off some of that blue I didn't like. And that's pretty much it, dudes. I'm calling you dudes. My son is 17. Dude. I'm like, I'm not your dude. Anyway, Mr. Elf, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It was a little fun, right? A little Saturday fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this fun tutorial, Mr. Elf. If you haven't joined my Patreon, you should go join my Patreon. You get the traceable downloads. I do exclusive tutorials. They're weekly. So that's 4 exclusive tutorials only for Patreon members. On the student tier and up, the sketchbook tier gets just the traceables that go with my YouTube channel, and the exclusive downloads, but they don't actually get the tutorial. So go over there, and also don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know when tutorials are up. And let's see, I think that's it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.